What up, everybody? It is the Cruel Fan Sports Hour. Once again, here with you, Josh Philo, Ryan Collins, Whitney Dowds, here with you on a Wednesday night, day after election 2020. Still counting a lot of votes. We're going to count W's. And the first thing we're going to talk about the Bills and Jets. Not a lot of W's to be spoken of, if you know what I mean. The Jets are winless. The Patriots only got, what, two dubs?
I have to go back to the records, but
Pretty sure it's two dubs. Pretty sure.
Okay, all right.
Pretty sure the Eagles have more wins than the Patriots do. So that's
It could be.
something that hasn't been said for about 20 years.
That's true. It's
this
been a long time.
early in the season. So, but a lot to get into tonight, and we're going to start there with the Bills and the Patriots, and our resident Patriots fans. So you got to win this game, right? I mean, Cam's in shambles, but geez.
Yeah, I mean, like they're any team, first of all, like any team in the NFL can be beaten at any given week. I truly believe that. I really, as a sports bettor myself, any team can win. And certainly spreads mean nothing. There's always an opportunity for teams to come back and demolish that spread. But it is not looking like a good season for the Patriots right now. And I am on the path of saying that the Patriots are going to have to make some tough decisions about next year, especially what's going on with Cam Newton. Do they extend a contract for him? I don't think that he has deserved that at this point, but certainly you have to look at the draft next year and think, if you're not going to tank, which I don't think that the Patriots will do purposefully, but if you're not going to tank, even if they did, there's enough terrible teams in the NFL that they could quickly decide to tank themselves. So if you're not going to do that, then what choice do you have but to trade up in the draft and make a run at maybe getting the first pick? Because, if the Jets end up being where Trevor Lawrence is drafted to, he might not even play there. So is there an opportunity?
He might not even come back, though.
Right. He might make the decision. Yeah, he might make the decision.
If it was going to be the Jets or the Jags, I'm like, I'll just stay in school another year. Screw that.
Yeah, my problem with that argument is, the way the injuries have been going, and not only in the NFL, but at any given point, a player's career could be ended. So would you rather get drafted to the NFL and say you made it, or would you rather break your leg playing for the last, year or have a season-ending injury or career-ending injury? And would you rather,
And it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be, and I'm all right with that.
All right. Well,
how about that?
Okay, I guess. So you'd rather basically wait at that point. I mean, it's a valid argument. There is like the opportunity.
I'm not him. We're not him. We're not sitting here waiting to be drafted. But
so the book's still out on that. I mean,
it's true. I got a shot.
Patriots are giving me calls, weekly to get out there.
Yeah.
It's just I got to make sure, I'm not busy that day because NFL Red Zone kind of takes up my Sundays. So, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Whit? What's the hope for the Patriots here? What's what's their options going forward? I mean, of course, like you think they're going to beat the Jets, right?
Yes. The coaching advantage is not even close. I'm sorry, it's just not. You have an 0-8 team, and it's not like Adam Gase hasn't had good players, that he's coached with, whether it was Peyton Manning a long time ago. But what's really interesting to me is the fact that he's had Le'Veon Bell, Ryan Tannehill, who's obviously had a better career once he left Gase's team or whatever, among other players that are there, and then they succeed in other places, and he's not. They're just not as talented this year. I'm sorry, they're not. I have more hope for our receiving core right now than I would for anyone on that offense. They're predictable. They don't know how to score in the clutch, and they turn the ball over too much. That will not win any game, regardless of any opponent that you're playing. And they've proven that they will give more touchdowns to their opponents than they will score touchdowns. So, yeah, I don't see them winning this game at all. Am I a little nervous for certain things? Maybe.
You should be wet.
But there's a potential that the Jets, maybe a 3% chance of them winning.
Oh, I'm going to give it about a 30% chance. But besides the fact that the Patriots are banged up themselves, you got a rookie running back for the Jets that's looking to prove a little bit of name. Patriots couldn't stop the run at all last week. Is that a factor in the Jets game? And the defense for the Jets isn't terrible. I mean, like they are able to make games closer than what they should be on paper. So, it's not a landslide victory. I think that the Patriots should win. I'm expecting them to win, but it's going to be a closer game probably than what we all want. I mean, remember Cam Newton hasn't even thrown a pass to a wide receiver or a tight end for a touchdown this year. Like, imagine that. Like the Patriots now, like this deep into the season, how does that happen? Granted, he was, not on.
Running them in though. He was scoring about.
No, that's fine. Yeah, he's still scoring touchdowns. I'm not saying that. Like the running game has been good. I'm just saying for a Patriots quarterback to not, be able to throw a touchdown to a receiver, they did get some help this week. It looks like they picked up Isaiah Ford. Is that his name? Isaiah. I don't know that he's like the big talent name that it's going to like save the day for the Patriots, but certainly you add him to the mix and it's at least more targets. It's at least somebody that, it's almost like one of these moves by the Patriots that like everyone's like, well, we needed a receiver, like, and they know they know what everybody wants to see happen at trade deadline. We want them to get Julio Jones. We want them to trade for Michael Thomas. Those kind of trades aren't going to happen, especially to the Patriots. I just, the biggest chance for that for Patriots was Antonio Brown, and we saw how that worked out. So I just think that, it's unlikely. I mean, it's unlikely for the Dolphins in the first place to trade a player that was a high draft pick to a division rival in the first place. But I guess because of the situation with the Patriots record and everything, you think they're not going to be able to be competitive against you, so you just take the chance in trading, and maybe it works out. To me, it looks like they're preparing for next year. They're trying to work some guys out. They got that guy, what's his name, Moncrief or whatever from the Saints too. They picked up him.
Are they going to deal Gilmore, you think?
No, they won't. Just because Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded guy in the first place, and they're not going to trade the best talent on the field that they have. They're not going to trade him. Jackson. When has he done that? He's gotten the best talent.
Didn't he trade that linebacker to the Browns? I guess
Jamie Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's rude. He cuts guys. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Belichick doesn't care.
Yeah, but for the most part, I mean, like they make sure that they're more getting talent. Maybe like Revis in the past, and like stars like that for a defensive player. I mean, I think there might have been some Brandon Spikes like type issues with Jamie Collins. So it's we'll see what happens going forward, but certainly the Patriots got to do something here to, change the narrative, change the story that's happening, because I'll tell you what, Patriots fans are ruthless out there and they are not happy with what's going on. It's obvious New England is a Patriots first, well, I say town, but it's not really a town. It's a district of the country or area of the country. So, football's big here is what I'm trying to say. And they, expect a team that's going to be competitive. And I guess our next topic can be this: Bill Belichick blames salary cap issues. Rex Ryan has comments that it was obvious that it was Tom Brady, even though in the past he's claimed that Tom Brady wasn't a Tom Brady fan, and that it wasn't because of Tom Brady. So like moving forward with Bill Belichick's comments, Whitney, what was your reaction to his comments? Certainly I don't think he's lying there, But there's some room for, a little bit of finger pointing there too. What do you think?
Well, I think the fact is they did have, especially, I think back to 2017 when they had a bunch of high-priced free agents that they brought in, and some of them didn't work out. Cody Ely, a defensive lineman, who's had a big Super Bowl 50, and he was kind of brought in to kind of shore up that. Obviously, Gilmore worked out, but they did have a lot of money that they used that year specifically to bring a lot of people in. Brandon Cooks is another one. And I don't know if, I don't know what Brandon Cooks' contract was. That's, discussion maybe something else. But I think when you're making a Super Bowl run like that, you have to spend a little bit of money on some players, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The other thing I want to point out too is AB and Josh Brown last year, or Josh Gordon last year. Um, they were both brought in to specifically upgrade that receiving core, and they both were gone by week 6 or 7 against the Giants, and that completely changed the course of the season. Whether it was just not having N'Keal Harry underperforming and just other receivers, Mohamed Sanu brought in and he was hurt and couldn't play at the same level. I think if you combine having to let certain people go, due to salary cap and not wanting to, whether it was like Trey Flowers or whatever, not wanting to put a big contract on certain players to just limit yourself. I think if you combine all those factors and the fact that, they went to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, you have to make certain sacrifices. And then losing Tom Brady didn't help either, but I think
that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing.
It's a combination of a lot of things, but it's not just Tom Brady that wins games for you. You need to have offensive weapons, whether it's Gronk or whether it's the variety of other weapons they had over the years, and losing them had a big impact on this team. It's very clear about that. So I don't think Tom Brady would have won any more games this year with this team simply because he's not a mobile quarterback.
I think the Patriots are more than 2 wins if Brady's still on the team.
I don't know. I'm kind of on Whitney's side here, just because if you look at like the games that were close, like when they played the Seahawks, they're not even close in that game unless you have Cam's legs running, and like he's making passes down the field. Like, he's been off like late in games too, but there's situations where it's 3rd and long and he has nobody and he's running, things that Tom Brady just can't do. Like, and the biggest thing for me has been the defense, because, you might be able to stay competitive in a game with the way the offense is playing in general. Like, they're not great, but like they can still stay competitive. But if you look at the defense last year, it was literally like we were calling them the boogeymen for a reason, right? Like, they were scary to play against. They were the best defense in the NFL. They were like locked up, like every player knew their assignment, knew their place, everything like that. You look at this year, I mean, the way that the Bills are running the ball, like, granted, Singletary and their running core is good. I'm not saying it's not, but like you look at the way that they're running the ball, like guys are missing tackles by a lot, not just like, oh, I got a hand on him or whatever. They're diving at the guy and missing him by feet. Like it's embarrassing the way that they, especially their goal line defense. I mean, it was pretty much non-existent. You got Josh Allen just like running all over the place, getting touchdowns, everything like that. It's embarrassing the way that rush defense is playing. On the other side with Jackson in the backfield or in as safety or whatever, they're able to, he's got 4 interceptions on the year. He's tied, I think, for the most interceptions in the NFL for a single player. So he's actually a big star this year, and certainly someone that the Patriots need to keep around for next year. But as far as being, the defense that they were last year, I mean, if you even think about getting rid of Gilmore, it's like you got nothing. Like that team is just going to completely fall apart. And of course, like any other team, they've had their COVID issues, and it started before the season. I mean, you got to remember, before the season, if it started, people were throwing up memes on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, about how the Patriots were purposely like telling players not to play due to COVID so that they could tank, so that they could get, a higher draft pick. Did that happen? Like, no, I don't think that that's what's really going on. Bill Belichick at the end of the day is going to put the best team on the field that he has available players wise, but you can't deny that because of those COVID decisions that players have made, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, like, you look at the way COVID is spreading through the NFL, it's no joke. So players that have new babies and things like that, fathers for the first time, like, they're not going to be wanting to make that decision and make it harder on their family. So I don't fault them for that at all, but it's a different team. It's a different whole atmosphere. And, Tom Brady, locker room wise, or just respect wise, might have a lot to do with that, but I still don't think that he's winning games with the way the defense is playing. Cam gives them the best opportunity to, make efforts on those third downs. I mean, it's an uphill battle, but if they're able to draft a little bit better this year, going into next year, and they get some of those players back from COVID, maybe the situation looks different next year. Although, today, huge numbers for the country with COVID. So that can always, we're not out of this thing yet with that. So we'll see what happens going on to next year. But that brings us into our next kind of topic about next year. The trade deadline in general, kind of lackluster across the league. Not a whole lot of players moving. I mean, every year there's like, the Falcons are going to trade Julio Jones. Actually, Le'Veon Bell did get traded or got let go and got picked up, but so he was probably a big name to go. But the most, Hopkins still remains to be the biggest trade situation of the whole entire year. And obviously, I mean, by his performance this year with Kyler Murray, it's proven to be a big mistake for the Texans. And, obviously they restructured their team. So due to that,
I heard people talking about them trying to get like Will Fuller to go to the Packers. I'm like, why are you just dismantling that whole receiving core? Like, when you have Deshaun Watson, like, what the hell? Like, why do people think that that's what they're going to do? That's insane.
Well, they Whitney and I were kind of talking about this actually before the show started. The Texans got what's his name, McCown, right? And basically, in my opinion, because of their record, because of the way things are, that they got him as kind of, maybe you're not going to win this year. You got to look towards next year. Do you put him in earlier this year than maybe you would if your record didn't reflect that? Is there, or is it, very rightfully could just be that because of COVID issues or because of injuries, everything else, that they need help there too. But moving forward with the Texans, I mean, they can't get rid of more people. They, they can't be trading guys and making, other teams better at this point. They gotta kind of keep their guys and see what happens with that. But let us know in the comments what you think the biggest trade, I guess, this year has been. Has it been Hopkins? Is there any other pickups, or maybe Antonio Brown? Is that the largest pickup of this year? Let us know in the comments. But anyway, we'll go on to Eagles. Got the bye this week, right? So
we're gonna dominate the bye. We're gonna win, dude. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, this might be the most perfectly timed bye week for any team probably ever in the history of sports. They're starting to get their guys back, right? They're starting to get some of that talent. I mean, they're playing pretty well. Carson Wentz is not playing well, but the rest of the team, the defense is playing very well. So going forward, Josh,
playing all right.
Well, yeah, they're playing good. Carson Wentz is not a good quarterback, but if you look
yes,
at the rest,
he is getting sacked 31 times. You get sacked 31 times trying to make something happen.
You see, like Whitney, it was all you're laughing because of how comical the game is against Dallas. Like, he is making terrible decisions.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
What was with that first turnover or that
first one?
Like,
the fumble literally looked like he just was like giving up, and he's just like, "Here's the ball." here's the ball.
And Ryan and I were saying this too. It is worse, and people may disagree with this, but it was worse than Cam Newton's fumble at the end of the game because Cam was getting stripped from behind and didn't see the player coming. Not that that's an excuse for how stupid of a fumble that was, but Carson Wentz had the defender right in front of him. How do you not throw the ball away or tuck it in and slide down?
Plus, he made that situation because of his decision to scramble and run backwards 20 yards. And, at least Cam's running and trying to make it a play and trying to make it a competitive game. I'll give him that. He wasn't holding the ball up and tight, and he blamed himself for that after the game. That's another thing. I'm getting so tired of Cam Newton excuses, like perform on the field or just learn the Patriot way a little bit. Maybe just say we didn't win the game, because at this point your excuses got to go, man. This is you got to win some games now. But anyway, going forward, bye week's
Carson
going to
was trying things, man. He was just trying things out. They wanted.
He tries to do too much. Do you think he tries to do too much?
He's got nobody out there. He's throwing a practice squad guys.
So throw the ball.
Of course,
away.
He's got to do too much.
He's
the only starter on the fucking field.
Well, at least run forwards.
Kelsey.
At least run forwards, right? At least try to make an effort to.
No, they don't run forwards in North Dakota, man. They don't do that. They don't do that.
Well, anyway,
they don't do it like that there, guys.
It was a very close call with that game. Cowboys basically, I put a meme up there. You can check it out on Cruel Fan Sports Facebook page. But I put a meme of basically the Cowboys wrapping up a win, nice Santa Claus win for the Eagles, giving them the win at the end of the game there with the weird play calling that was going on. I mean, I'll give you this. The Cowboys looked a lot more creative on their plays than whatever was going on the Eagles side. But, you got to get the ball to Boston Scott. You got to get the, ball at least to, you got, what's his name? Fulgham or whatever. Yeah. I mean,
Fulgham, yeah.
He's a star.
They threw to him. Didn't he score? He scored.
Oh yeah, he scored, but I'm just saying, they didn't get the ball to him nearly enough. They gotta, use the talent.
How many times did Wentz get sacked? 5 times.
Yeah,
another 4
I don't know. Probably 14, 15 times he got sacked. I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it. He got literally a Swiss cheese up there guarding, and Jason Kelsey in the middle.
Did they go for a fake punt in that game? I want to say they went for a fake punt, but maybe it wasn't that game. I can't remember. But anyway, all right. It wouldn't surprise me with that. They did try the Philly special again.
Yeah,
and they missed it.
Yeah,
or they didn't.
The Patriots did in the Super Bowl. They missed it.
They didn't try to actually complete it because Wentz was covered, and everybody knows the damn play now. So maybe you shouldn't try to show off and do it every single time you're on the field. But
every time. That's what we run 65 times a game is the Philly special every time.
It's better than getting sacked for 45 yards lost.
Hey.
Well, hey, at least you aren't the Cowboys who tried the same play 5 different times. And it only worked twice.
Oh, they have no faith in that backup quarterback. There is no, whatever his name is, Danucci. Yeah, there is no faith at all in him. This is
no, he's trash, dude. He's terrible.
I feel bad for him. I mean, it's an impossible situation to be in for him. I don't feel bad for the rest of the organization. For him, I do.
Imagine this stat line, right? Amari Cooper, 2 targets in the game. 2 targets. You think the reason why I played him in fantasy actually is because you think that with a rookie a rookie quarterback, right, you rely on the veterans more. So get them the ball because all the that's where the talent is. And other quarterbacks that have been in the league longer or whatever, they rely on the fact that they can spread the ball out more and give it to other receivers because they believe more in their arm. But when you're in a situation where you're playing, a decent team out there, decent defense anyway out there, and you're trying to just give it to the same guy the whole time, I don't know. It's not looking good for the Cowboys. I think it's hilarious that basically the Thanksgiving games, actually the Steelers and Ravens play, right? The night game, but Thanksgiving is the one time a year, and I'll make a meme of this, put it up right before Thanksgiving. This is a sneak peek for our watchers here. The Thanksgiving is the day when everybody pretends like they want to watch the Cowboys and Lions. Like everyone's like so excited about watching football, and that's the Cowboys and Lions. It's
the Lions fans are excited. It's their Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. But it's like
the only time everyone's watching them.
Yeah.
Every year they go to the Super Bowl every year, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
By the way, Matthew Stafford has been deemed COVID-19.
Yeah,
I don't know if
COVID.
So he'll be out of
he'll
be out of the game this week. So obviously, like I said, nobody's immune to it. Nobody in the NFL is safe from the situation that we have in the country right now, but it's not good when your team is that bad and you're going to lose your starting quarterback. So I'm not even sure who's back up there, but
Rodney Pete.
Yeah, Rodney Pete.
Rodney Pete. Oh.
That's a throwback for y'all.
All right. Here's some news in the NBA that's actually kind of interesting that came out. Gordon Hayward may decide, which it's not like that crazy of an idea, but Gordon Hayward supposedly wants out of his contract with the Celtics. He would be up for an extension, I guess, next year, but he maybe wants to go back to Indiana, or due to injuries and everything, bad luck, I guess, that he's had with the Celtics. How does that impact the Celtics? How does that impact them going forward? Any ideas there, Josh?
Well, I mean, it sucks. Like, I feel like, when he signed with the Celtics, it was like he was like the last piece, really to push him forward. And it was going to be the second big three. And it was going to be this whole thing. And then, the first 3 seconds of the first game, he has that horrible injury. And then it's just been slow going, coming back. And then meanwhile, the team went through all this, totally that wave crash that they were riding going into that. And the Kyrie experiment failed, and then they were still. I mean, Tatum's there. Obviously the team is good, but he could never really come back and was never really that superstar that he was coming into Boston. And so, I mean, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea if he got out of there with a fresh start. I mean, he got his money, whatever.
Yeah.
And he still got that sweet mustache. So did he shave it?
Yeah, people are saying that he's had his second child now, I think. So moving forward, maybe it's time to get back to Indiana where he's closer to his family, things like that. The team itself is going to need a lot of restructuring next year. I think I've said this before, but you got to do something with Smart. You got to figure out how his role is either going forward, or is there, room to trade him to get somebody else or something like that. Not a lot of news so far coming out of the NBA as far as trades and things like that going, besides Anthony Davis obviously is going to try to get more money. So that's kind of, big news, I guess. But other than that, not a ton going on in the NBA right yet, even though the season probably, isn't that far away from starting, depending on what they decide to do. But obviously that NBA bubble worked out a lot due to COVID, but going forward, it's a lot different when you have the whole season to play. Really easy to play playoffs. Really easy to have tournaments, that situation's easy.
Well, they're not going to do the bubbles again, though, right? They're going to travel.
Yeah, right. I don't think that there's the opportunity to do that.
Again.
Is that what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, because there's there's too many teams, there's too many games that need to be played. That whole situation, there's the bubble doesn't work in that situation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. Obviously, the Lakers still could be the superpower that everybody's looking to beat. A lot of other teams, because of contracts, their teams might not change a lot either because of so many moves last year that were made. Obviously, the Nets coming back up, and be interesting to see what Golden State does too, to try to come back to be they're the perfect example of, relatable to the Patriots, right? They're the team that couldn't get it together this year due to injuries or whatever, the situation is. And the same thing for the Patriots. They're the, comparable teams across sports that we look at. So let's move on. Red Sox manager search. Again, not a ton of the season is pretty much just over. I did see that the Yankees are making maybe a move for a player from the Giants, but that's about it for shortstop. But that's about it. But Red Sox are the only team in the MLB that still have not signed a manager. You got Hicks getting signed, but they have not reached an agreement. It is looking like the front runner is Alex Cora. A lot of back and forth on this. You can check out Matt Lively's article on cruelfan.com. He did a nice little breakdown of the managerial search that's going on. But the Red Sox still without a manager. It seems like they have had kind of their Alex Cora moment that they've had so far, like reaching out to him and having a meeting with him and everything like that. Alex Cora, a few days before the World Series ended, he had tweeted or retweeted a tweet that he put out when he was first signed by the Red Sox. So it kind of got everybody's hopes really hyped up. I thought that they might make an announcement this week. There's a couple guys in the running, but I thought that they might make an announcement this week. Whitney, what do you think of the Red Sox going forward? What do they have to do with their managerial search?
I mean, it looks like just from everything that's been put out there, as well as what you just said, that they could be moving forward with signing him. I personally don't agree with that, just because of everything that was tied to the cheating scandal and everything. I would personally rather see a fresh start, but that's just me. He obviously has a proven record. Even before that whole cheating scandal thing happened, he was with the Red Sox, won a championship with them as a player as well. So he's clearly knowledgeable. He obviously made a really bad decision in terms of being part of that scandal, or two scandals, I guess, and whatever role he played in that. But obviously, the Red Sox see something in him and are at least willing to give him a second chance, even if it's just, again, nothing's obviously confirmed yet. But again, he has credibility. Obviously he has things he needs to prove, but if you look at his overall picture of like what he's done in his career, he has some credibility. And so we'll see how people think of that. But I don't know. I personally would, just from with everything going on with that scandal, have a completely fresh start.
Yeah, you're not alone in that feeling. I think a lot of Red Sox fans are thinking that same thing, that maybe a fresh start is just better for the team. And, they kind of had an opportunity with an interim manager there to decide, obviously the season was a lot different this year. So maybe, that played into something. They decided to make a decision without really kind of making a decision. But Josh, for you being a baseball fan and seeing, the opportunity that the Red Sox could sign back Alex Cora, does that bother you, or you think he has it? Does he have a chance back in baseball, or should he be banned forever? Because obviously you got to
not banned. I mean, he didn't. I mean, no, not banned. I don't think he's. I don't know why they bring him back. I mean, he left in somewhat disgrace.
Obviously because of the record-setting season that they had, but
yeah. Well, they won and everything, but then it got connected with it was that whole with the with the cheating and everything with the Astros and everything, and then it was kind of I think they probably cheated. That's why they won the 2018. Big time.
Yuck.
And then I'm glad the Dodgers finally got theirs, because they got cheated out of two rings, at least one, maybe two, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he should necessarily be allowed to be like a manager again. Maybe like, a bench coach or something. But I don't know. I mean, I guess the baseball doesn't really care that much. I mean, everyone's cheating, right? It's just to get caught. That's the only thing. So.
There's certainly.
I don't like it though.
The whole fact of the matter is, like, there's certainly more people to blame than just two people in the MLB, right? Like, there's other people that certainly got away with whatever was going on, not only on those teams, but just across the MLB in general. There's other factors to be played here. Now, the Yankees still have a big cheating scandal going on right now, but because of the courts and them kind of suppressing the files that need to be out there, they've, they've kept that under wraps. When that comes out, there might be a huge another cheating scandal that comes out, and this might be an Aaron Boone, suspension situation, something like that going on. But, I'll let that play out. We'll see what happens. It's very bad for baseball in general if the Yankees get in trouble for anything, because they're the shining star. They're where, they got they want the home runs. They got the players. They got the star talent. They can't win a World Series to save the life of them, but they're able to, draw eyes. Like, for the most part, even if you're, a Tigers fan or just a fan of baseball in general, a Yankee game can be exciting to anyone because of the home runs, because of, it's exciting to me because I want them to lose and I get so happy when they lose. But a Yankees game or Red Sox game, they're, not last year, but they're exciting to watch in general. So let us know in the comments what you think about Alex Cora coming back as a manager. Are you taking Whitney's side and Josh's side about Red Sox really not making that move? Or are you on the old Collins side of righteousness of give this guy another chance? He's the best manager you've ever had. He's good for the Red Sox. This guy is a guy that was hanging up a pitcher, right? Like Whitney, just picture this, all right? He was hanging up a pitcher of every single win that the Red Sox got that season. He had this wall of just a snapshot from that game and who made the biggest impact of the game, and he got pitched. Like, he's good for baseball. He's good for the Red Sox. You got to bring him back. He's my choice for Red Sox manager search, but we'll see. The other thing is ownership in general. They're very proud people, right? At the Boston Red Sox, they're very, how do I put this? They don't like being the center of controversy, right? So they hire back Alex Cora. They kind of have to take a hit saying, this is not the most favorable, or to the rest of baseball, not the most favorable move. So we'll see what happens with that. Jimmy G, moving on. Jimmy G, is he done with the 49ers? What you saw the news about Jimmy G getting injured yet again. Basically, last game he was being like wheelbarreled onto the field by Kittle. Now Kittle's going to be injured too. He might be out for 9 weeks. Results of his x-rays came out negative first and then came back with a broken bone, I believe. So he might be out for like 8 to 9 weeks. That whole team is imploding injury wise. They got the Packers, right? They're playing the Packers Thursday night. They got the Packers coming up. Obviously, they're not going to win that game the way that their team is playing right now. And you got Mullins filling in for Jimmy G probably. What do you think about Jimmy G? It's as far as with the 49ers, is he done with them? Is this an opportunity for another team to sweep in on Jimmy G?
Before I answer that, his contract that he currently is on, when does that end? This year?
I'll look that up while you make your point.
Okay, so if that's true, then obviously he's had quite a bit of success in the time that he's actually been on the field, but he's also benefited from a really good running game, and as we all saw last year, that Super Bowl run that he had, he didn't have to do anything in the first two playoff games because the running game basically did everything. He was one throw away from one completed throw away from winning a Super Bowl if he doesn't overthrow Emmanuel Sanders. So he has the ability to do it, but it's all down to execution. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out last year. I don't know if he has the weapons around him. He can be a really great player. And if he's not having to do everything by himself, he can be a great player as well. I don't know if he'll be done because, again, who are you going to replace?
Yeah, he's got it looks like he still has some time left with his contract, but depending on the injury, he's signed a 5-year contract and it was record setting at the time, but depending on the injury, it may be time to make a trade or see how he plays next year. Maybe you have to make a move next year for starting quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, if he's not 100% healthy, then you might have to, because you can't have a quarterback that can't at least move around in the pocket to get away from pressure, especially with an ankle injury like that. That's now been hurt twice this year.
Yeah, he's been injury prone in general throughout his career with 49ers, but we'll see what they do next year. Josh, what's going on with the 49ers? Do you think that they have a chance against the Packers, or do they have a need to get rid of Jimmy G, or is he staying around?
Well, I mean, they did give him a lot of money, but he's borderline damaged goods now, right? He's gotten hurt twice now, and then one more time, and you're like, ugh. But I mean, he's nothing spectacular when it comes to a quarterback from what I've seen. I mean, he's like a really good game manager. I mean, he doesn't have a really good long ball or anything like that. Isn't run, doesn't do anything super like noteworthy, but yeah, but he rode the running game all the way to the Super Bowl. And then when he was asked to throw the ball, he screwed up. So I don't know. I mean, he got, going back to the money, I guess he got the money because that was the market. But if you could find somebody, go get him. Because I mean, Mullins. Yeah, and what's the other guy? There was another guy that when Mullins got hurt.
Yeah, Beathard.
Yeah, that's it, Beth. Yeah, so
who
I don't
actually
know.
Wasn't terrible, but I mean,
that whole team's banged up, so it's whatever. You know what I mean? It's a hangover season for sure, and it's too bad.
Yeah, the fact of the matter remains that they, even if they make a decision or get rid of him, there's other parts of that team now with Kittle injury, and you never know how somebody's going to bounce back from an injury.
Bosa too,
Yeah, there's other factors in that team that need to be addressed for next year. But I think that, what's interesting to know, actually, this is kind of an interesting spin. Although you could argue that this is just guys saying hi, it seemed like a lot of attention was placed and a lot of rumors was placed around when the Patriots played the 49ers. So, McDaniels and other notable coaches for the Patriots were going up to Jimmy G and having extensive conversations with him. This could be just simply, basically just conversation, or hey, how's it going, like what's going on, like things like that, because they're friendly and they know each other. But could it also be, is there an opportunity for the Patriots to get him in a trade, or are they just at this point done with Jimmy G? I mean, he was a favorite in New England at one time, and of course, as a lot of New England fans that are female, they are very interested in watching Jimmy G play on the field. So what do you think?
Too. I'm sure some male fans are into it too.
That's true. I hate to be biased. I hate to be biased or sexist or anything like that. So true, very true. Is there an opportunity for the Patriots to get a player like that, or do they have to just either extend Cam Newton or go to their draft to see who else is available there?
I think I do a little bit of both, right? You got, because Stidman's obviously trash, so you have to draft somebody that you can like build, and then you got to go out and get somebody and just kind of patchwork until whoever you drafted is ready to go. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that regardless of who's under center, if they don't get a better offensive line and better receiver, it won't matter who's at center. And honestly, you need a mobile quarterback with this type of team, unless they improve drastically at the wide receiver and tight end position, because they're not getting open. Like, no one is getting open against, the good defenses in this league. And your running game, if you rely too much on them, teams are going to clamp down on that.
Yeah.
Especially the better, high-powered teams in this league who have better defenses.
Yeah, there are some like shining moments. I mean, I guess you could say Harris, the rookie there. There is some hope that he can turn into, a star for them. You got Sony Michel maybe coming back. Who knows what's going to go on with him? At this point, I think that they're all in on Cam. I don't think they're going to bench him. Belichick is in love with Cam Newton. I think that not only, Belichick has this very subtle way of making his point. kind of clear. I think that the Patriots always struggled against the Panthers, right? Like they always had issues with Cam Newton on the other side of the ball. And I think Brady hated that. I think Brady hated that Cam Newton got a little bit of attention during those games. I think overall, there was also a video that came out. I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but it was basically Cam Newton throwing pass after pass, and he got one ball and it was deflated a little bit. And he said like Tom Brady to it, like, and threw the ball away. Like, I don't know if Tom ever saw that, but certainly, he's a little more active on social media these days. I don't know that he really cares about someone saying that at that time, but it was an interesting comment, and maybe there's a little bit of rivalry there. I think it's a subtle way. I think it was a subtle way in general because, all those times that the Panthers beat the Patriots, I think every single one of them, they talked about Cam Newton, how good he was, everything like that. And they focused on that. Oh, you got to stop this guy. You got to stop him from running. He's a decent passer, things like that. And, he'll be the playmaker of the game. Ate away a little bit at the Belichick and everything at Brady, that relationship with Belichick. And maybe, there's something to be said there about the subtlety of Bill Belichick and his chess moves on the football field.
Well, I think just kind of one final point on that is if you just look around the league, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's Lamar Jackson, I'm not trying to compare Cam to either of those before I go any further, but the league is moving toward more mobile quarterbacks. And obviously they have higher chances of getting hurt if they're more mobile because defenders will be more likely to try to come at them. But at the same time, it makes offenses harder to stop, as we've seen. And with all due respect to Tom, he wasn't a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's also 43. And yes, he's having a great season, but how long is that actually going to last?
Yeah, you can see too. He's got a little bit more leeway with Arians there. There's a couple decisions that actually ended up in the Giants game, ending up with the Bucs winning by going for the field goal instead of 4th and 2, 4th and 1. They're going for it. They decide to kick the field goal at the end of the game, which puts them up by 8 points. You could see Tom Brady walking back and kind of being a little annoyed. And then there was another situation earlier on the game when Arians is like telling them, hurry up, go, 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 go. And Brady doesn't know what the play call is. Arians wanted him to QB sneak and just pick up the yard. But instead they have to use a timeout. They weren't, or the quarter ended, something like that. It was a flawed little play there. A little bit of communications issues there, obviously with Antonio Brown coming. I mean, the guy's living in Tom Brady's house. So there's that's how much Tom Brady believes in this guy. It's both of them, Belichick and Brady, kind of playing chess back and forth, saying like, you know what, like Antonio Brown didn't work with the Patriots, and I really wanted him to work. So you know what, I convinced my coach, I convinced my GM that we got to sign this guy. We got to make him a star. We got to make the Patriots regret not keeping him last year. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, we're gonna wrap with a game here.
Oh yeah,
it's a little bit different of a game than what we played last week. Actually, Whitney, congratulations on your first win last week. Awesome win for Whitney in the Boomer Bust Trivia. This is a different game, though, that we're playing here. This is called, I'm calling it Fantasy Football Knockout. How good, being a Philly fan, being from Philadelphia, how good are your boxing skills, Josh?
Oh, I can throw.
Okay.
I got these hands. Come for them.
Okay. And Whitney, of course, we all know is very dangerous. So we have to be in a looking out for that to happen during this game. Fantasy Football Knockout. Basically, the game goes like this. I'll describe it. It's a little bit different than what we've been playing, but still got the fantasy football idea here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you guys trivia questions. There's 10 questions. Basically, you are going to, if you get the question right, these are harder questions than what you've been playing before. If you get the question right, and they're questions that are from years in the NFL, not just this year. So a little bit tougher of questions. If you get the question right, you're basically going to put a X on one of the opposing players. If you get 3 of them right, you take that player out for the game. And we're going to build a team. But to start off, let's flip a coin. Whitney, do you want heads or tails?
Tails.
Okay, it is tails. It was a pen, not a coin. But it still is relevant.
Why do you flip a pen?
Well, one side is, the logo, and the other side is no logo, and tails is no logo. Okay.
All
right, you're still going to have an opportunity here. It's not going to come down to the coin flip in this one, but you get first pick. So your options are, you're going to build your team first in this situation. Usually we build a team as the questions are coming out, but you're going to build your team first in this situation. So you have the choice of Josh Allen or Russell Wilson.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Okay. Okay, now remember, the teams aren't as crucial here because you can still knock them out. You still have a chance to knock somebody out. Josh, would you like Russell Wilson Josh Allen or Metcalf?
Ooh. I guess Josh Allen, though.
Okay. Okay, Whitney, would you like Metcalf or Diggs?
Ooh. That's tough because he's going against Tre'Davious White. You know what? I'll take a chance, Diggs.
Okay. Okay, Josh, you have the opportunity of getting Metcalf or Lockett.
Ooh, I'll go Metcalf.
Okay. Okay, Whitney, Lockett or Moore?
Lockett.
Okay, Josh, Moore or Carson? And Carson's a little banged up, so
I was gonna say, is he still hurt?
He might be.
I'll take Moore then.
Okay. And Whitney, you have the choice of basically Carson or what's his office? Singletary.
I'll take Singletary.
Okay. And since it comes down to the last pick, we'll do you will get Carson, but if Carson doesn't play, you'll have Hyde. If that's fair, or whoever the running backup is. Okay, Josh?
Okay, that sounds good to me.
All right. So let's start the game, fantasy football knockout. The teams are Russell Wilson, Diggs, Lockett, Singletary for Whitney, Josh Allen, Metcalf, Moore, Carson, or Hyde, or Seattle running back, depending on who plays. For Josh, first question, since Whitney got first pick, first question will go to Josh. Or actually, you can choose. You want to go first? You want to go second?
I'll go first, whatever.
Whitney, you have no choice.
Okay.
All right, Josh. First question. The Patriots set a record in Super Bowl 52 against the Eagles with most total team yards. How many did they have over or under 615?
Over.
Correct answer is under at 613.
Some bullshit, Rob.
So the good thing about this, though, is you got the question wrong, but there's no penalty. You only get penalized if Whitney gets a question right. So number 2, who was the New York Giants coach in 2008, Whitney? Who was
Tom Coughlin.
Tom Coughlin is correct. So that is a hit we're basically playing like Sink My Battleship situation. So
is Battleship or something?
So where would you like to put your hit on Josh Allen, Metcalf, Moore, or Carson? You get 1 X.
Metcalf.
Okay, Metcalf gets an X. Again, if you get 3 X's on a player, you lose that player from playing in fantasy. Number 3, who is number 32 on the 2018, or actually not 2018, who is number 32 on the Seattle Seahawks? Josh.
That's Carson.
That's Carson. That is correct. So you get to put an X on either Russell Wilson, Diggs, Lockett, or Singletary.
Wilson.
Okay. All right. Number 4. Who wears number 4 for the Raiders, Whitney?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is correct. Where would you like to put the X? Would you like to add another to Metcalf?
What are the other players?
Josh Allen, Moore, or Carson and Hyde?
Oh, no, definitely Metcalf.
All right, Metcalf. Okay, you got 2 X on your Battleship Metcalf, Josh. Whitney has 1 X on Battleship Russell Wilson. Josh, going forward, who has thrown the most TDs in an NFL season? Which quarterback has thrown the most TDs in an NFL season?
It's Peyton, isn't it?
Peyton Manning is correct. Where would you like to put your X?
Up your ass.
All right.
I'm gonna double up on Russ.
All right. So Russell Wilson Battleship has 2 X's. Metcalf Battleship has 2 X's. I guess I should have called it Battleship Knockout, but I like the idea of the boxing kind of. Anyway, how many Super Bowls, Whitney, have the Dallas Cowboys appeared in, over or under 7?
Over.
Over is correct with 8. 8 Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys, 8 Super Bowls, which is a lot of Super Bowls that they've lost, basically, is what comes down to that. Josh, Whitney, where would you like to put the X? Would you like to take Metcalf Battleship out of the game?
Yes.
Okay, so Metcalf is out of the game. That's a big hit. That's a big hit to Josh's team there. You sunk Metcalf.
It's all right. Russell Wilson's about to be gone. It's all right.
All right. Okay. This is actually the perfect question for you, Josh. How many NFL teams are named after birds?
Oh, can I name them?
Yeah, you should name them.
The Eagles, the Ravens, the Cardinals, the Seahawks. 4. No,
You missed.
5,
You missed one. Sorry, you missed one. The Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons. No.
You missed the other birds. The dirty South birds. The Falcons. You missed the dirty Eagles. Unfortunately. Okay. Well, no harm really to your team.
Not yet.
But you are not able to sink any battleships over on Whitney's side. So we'll move over to the next question. Who has scored the most TDs in NFL history? You got a couple options here. Emmitt Smith, Randy Moss, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, or Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice.
Okay, Jerry Rice is correct. Got a guess at how many TDs he scored?
Is that going to...
No, it won't affect your battle.
It should.
It should.
I would say at least 80.
Oh, it's a lot more than that.
I could probably be wrong, completely wrong.
I feel like I should take away a point, but it's 208.
You should take away points for 80.
Oh, you know what? You know what I was thinking? Singles. Never mind. I was thinking a different.
Okay.
Stat.
All right, that's okay.
Sorry.
Single season would be a lot of TDs. If it was
I was thinking over the course of like a couple. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's okay. It's all right. No fault here. No loss to Josh's team. No loss to your team. How many teams, Josh, do not have a Super Bowl win over or under 8?
Under.
It's over. Unfortunately, it's over. You got the Bengals, the Bills, the Browns, the Cardinals, Chargers, Falcons, Jaguars, Lions, Panthers, Texans, Titans, and Vikings. A lot of losses there.
That's a lot.
So no more damage done. That was your last opportunity, unfortunately, to sink one of Whitney's teams. So Whitney has the advantage here. We'll do the last question just for fun. Actually, whoever gets the correct answer gets an X. We'll do that. Or gets to use an X. And whoever says it first wins a race to the buzzer. Who is the youngest player to be named Super Bowl MVP?
Patrick Mahomes.
What's that?
That was my buzz. I buzzed in.
Okay. I don't know who to count now, but it was Whitney's question anyway. It was Patrick Mahomes is correct.
Oh, I thought it was a buzz. That was my Tourette's buzz, I guess.
Okay, so you could put an X on somebody, but it doesn't really matter because you won't have enough X's to sink anybody's ship. So the teams go as follows. Whitney has Russell Wilson, Diggs, Lockett, and Singletary. Josh, you have Josh Allen. You lost Metcalf. He is sinking at the bottom of the ocean, but you have Moore and Carson or Hyde combination, depending on who plays there, who gets more points that game. So that is Fantasy Football Knockout. Not the greatest boxing performance by the Philadelphian, but is that what they're called? Philadelphians? Is that what we call them?
Probably, but technically I'm a Lancastrian.
Oh, Lancastrian, right. It's like Game of Thrones or something, right? But yeah, technically, I guess you're not really from Philly. But anyway, big week in the NFL. Hopefully we answered some of your questions going forward. Josh, Ryan, and Whitney. That is it for this week of our game. And also check out that link in the description. Make sure you look at Ice Shaker. Check out their products. They got some really cool products in there. So check out that link in the description. Thanks and enjoy and try to be nice to each other during this election period time. Stressful for everybody. All right. Cheers.
Yep.